Hey everybody, welcome back to Them Boys Watch Footy. Hope everybody's been well. Hope everybody had a really good holiday last week, and now we're getting back into the football right now. It's your boy E. We're joined with TC and Dinesh. How you gentlemen doing today? Dinesh, what's going on, man?
Good, E. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on again.
But TC, how you doing, boss?
The end of the season, 11 weeks of darkness ahead of us in terms of Premier League football. Excited to be here talking a whole bunch of anything green and 6-yard bots of you chaps.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, want to thank all of our listeners again. We're just about up to 1.1K followers right now, so really excited about that on YouTube, and then as well as Spotify listening has been growing as well. So I want to thank everybody again for giving us some love and support. Couldn't do this without you all. I mean, we could just continue to talk into the ether, but really enjoying where we're going right now, guys? But yeah, first, PSG Masterclass. That's the name of the episode today. We really got to talk and dive deep into this Champions League final that just took place this past weekend. I was able to watch it with Dinesh in Midtown. It was a really good watch along together. We had some new guys that kind of came out of nowhere. The Senegalese gent, he's a very kind soul. Hopefully he's listening to us today. But yeah, Dinesh, I got to get your take on it first. I'm saying Masterclass. I'm also saying belt to ass. Like, watching that match just made me realize I don't know much about the entire betting landscape, because I thought that match would be at least a 3-2, maybe a 2-1 matchup with PSG taking the win, but I didn't think it would be as dominant as that. So Dinesh, would love to hear your thoughts there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think I mentioned this when we met during the watch long. I was like, I think PSG were definitely due one of these matches, right? I mean, watching them against Liverpool, I've never seen a team batter us like that. It just made me think, like, how lucky we were not to. I mean, we got to penalties with PSG. Like, it was pretty crazy. And this team is another level. Overdue, I'd say, this win as well. Like, this Champions League win, they arguably should have won this before. But yeah, surprised as you were in terms of, I didn't expect. I've never seen a final like that, just pure domination, and
it's the first time ever.
Yeah, in the scoreline as well. It was a high score, right? Ever for
the highest goal differential between finalists.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah. TC, love to hear your thoughts there. I know you got some crazy take that's brewing in your mind of yours right now.
Look, I think what we saw was, and I think that PSG would just do a game where everything clicked, and we've been seeing a build-up since they beat Man City. They have been continuously building on that. I think what you saw from them and what we saw after they beat Man City is what people are starting to talk about, was a very young team, very powerful, very quick transition, very good technical midfielders, and an amazing youthful exuberance at the top there. That, if I'm a manager at Rennes now looking at Doku going like, how did we let that kid go? But obviously just, what you've really seen is a team that's come together with the loss of their talisman last season and really come together and put the word team together. Because let's be honest, like, losing Mbappe would have been detrimental to any team.
Very true.
And to come together in this way that we've watched them play this last few weeks has been nothing short of just amazing. You have to give props off to the coach 100%, and just the team from the back to the front seems to have the right poise, the right football IQ. What we saw in passages of that play, that first goal, was so... I can only do those things in FIFA, to be honest. I'm really good at FIFA, and that was really, it was perfection. I mean, from pass to look up to second pass. Those are things that can't be taught when you're looking at the speed of those decisions. It was amazing to see throughout the whole team, even from Donnarumma, who tended to do much. Now, taking focus off PSG, and I'm just going to end with this point. Inter Milan have been the team the whole season, okay? This is football. We must not forget this is football. Anything can happen over 90 minutes. So I think it's important not to be like detrimental to what happened to Inter. Unfortunately, they got shell-shocked, got knocked back 2 goals in the final, and sometimes it's going to take only one team I've seen come back, from that kind of thing. Dinesh has had a little smile there from, the teams come down from 3-0 down and, that kind of stuff. So it takes a lot of commitment to do that. And I think in that state, unfortunately, they just did not have it and only started to play a bit more football later in the game.
Well, I was watching that match. I felt as though it was dominance like right from the start from PSG. Like they didn't take their foot off the gas at all. It was a full out press the entire time. Watching some of their play, to your point, TC, I felt as though some of that was learned. Watching how they had their intricate passes kind of already laid out. That first goal to Hakimi, it was a lot of great movement where you could see the overload on one side and you had DeMarco, the back for Inter Milan. He's completely exposed, having two people to his side, both Hakimi and then as well, right behind Hakimi, he had Dembele, who is definitely very, very much, I believe he's going to win the Ballon d'Or now, the best player in men's football this season. I think he is after that performance and this season-long performance.
Ooh, stay on topic.
No. That is on topic. Like,
okay, so
his performance during the Champions League campaign, also he won the treble with PSG this season. He had very strong goals and assists output this year, and their team made a complete 180 from where they were at the end of the 2024 calendar year into the 2025 calendar year. PSG became a completely different beast. And Dembele was a huge part of that reasoning. But back to my point, just watching the actual football that was played.
You want to respond to that?
No. Back to my point. I'll let you get to your rebuttal, but back to my point. Just talking about the football that Luis Enrique kind of instilled within this team, that constant press throughout. Like, just watching Dembele against Sommer, fear in Sommer's eyes when he was trying to get the ball and Dembele was closing on him like a madman the entire time. That first goal, you could see the overload on one side creates just mismatch and opportunity on the other side for multiple opportunities for PSG that happened throughout the match. Like, it was just a complete dominance, and I really got to give my tip.
A little bit, I think, just looking at some of the nuance around some of the play, I think, yeah, absolutely like some tactical masterclass. However, I don't think it was maybe too. I say this a lot because I'm looking at the way Inter Milan played, and I think that they had like glimpses of that. So I don't want to say. I think there was the scoreline is obviously the baseline of how the game went, but I think like there was some glimpses of there from the Inter. Unfortunately, we didn't see some of the skills that they played before. I shall hand over to you if there's anything you want to add there before we go back onto who the best three players after the end of that one, because that one needs to come back to that one.
No, I'll actually I'll say something. First of all, I think absolutely relentless. Like PSG were just relentless, and again, but they've been consistent with this against us, against Liverpool, against Villa, against Arsenal. This has been. I mean, again, I think this you can't really fault them. They've been, and again, I mean, player for player, that attack, even defense. I said arguably they've got some of the best wing backs in the world, right? Arguably left and right back. Best in the world. The goalkeeper, Donnarumma, like best in the world. And I'd love to get your guys' take on this. Like you had Sommer, right, for Inter as a goalkeeper. He just looks small in that goal. In that goal, when I saw him, I was like, I would not be fearing him as a striker. Yeah, I mean, I've said it, and I noticed this when he played for Switzerland, right? Yeah, I've seen him play, and I guess he's a shot stopper, right? That's why he's playing.
He's a good shot stopper. The big issue with him, he just can't do it near post. We watched.
I mean, I've looked at his height. Officially, Wikipedia puts him on as 6 foot.
Yeah.
Obviously, they give him an inch or two more, but again, when I'm seeing him in goal, I think when I'm seeing Alisson or Donnarumma the opposite, he's like mountain men, right? These are guys that take up space, and I feel like, again, I'm not fearing when I'm going against 1-on-1. I just thought he would concede every time. And fair enough, it's...
I would say let's talk to Lamine Yamal for that one, because his performance in the 2 legs against Barcelona the previous round, he stood on his head. Like, Sommer, he was the main reason why Inter was able to even make it that far. All of those saves against Yamal, those saves against Rafinha, when Lewandowski came on at the end of the second leg in that Barcelona versus Inter matchup, Sommer made some amazing saves. So I completely agree. Like, he's not intimidating. My main thing is somebody looked at the scouting report and they just hit that on the head, specifically against Sommer, because even in that Barcelona matchup, he could not save near post. He was getting beat multiple times on near post. That's possibly because of his anticipation. One of the reasons as to why he's so hard to get past is he's usually jumping and springing into action probably a split second or 2 seconds before the actual striker or forward that's looking to attack and score. He's already jumping to the side that he's guessing that you're attacking to. So the fact that Kvaratskhelia, what are you talking about? Kvaratskhelia, that was nearsighted. Malumu, that kid.
You're basing his skills on luck. You just said you're guessing. He's not. He's known for his quick reflexes.
That's not luck. That's not luck. Like, that's an actual skill to be able to anticipate and be able to jump.
His skills to he's guessing, which like he's he's known for his quick reflexes, and as a former keeper, he's known for being very agile on his feet specifically. So I know it seems like he's out of it. He's a top keeper, ladies and gentlemen. He's a top keeper. Let's not fuck around. He's a top keeper. He's played for Bayern Munich, Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's a top keeper. He's over 6 foot. He's not as big as some of the bigger keepers, but he's over 6 foot, and he's known for his agility at 6 foot, and that's one of the things he's known for. Now, I'm not going to blame it on keepers because anyone who stood in the size of those goals, let alone a penalty, stand in the size of those goals. They were huge when you're in there. I promise it looks small from the TV, but they were huge, and we're talking about technicians with the ball, okay? So I can never, unless it's at Onana, it's definitely not going to be like his fault. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, yes, absolutely, you're right, near post. But as a keeper, my man, there's a whole fucking goal. You're looking at the whole thing here. Trust me. You're like near post, this side. These guys can twist the ball. So let's ease up on some of them. Ease up. Pretend he's from Switzerland, which he is. Give him the piece of neutrality to say, you know what? You were let down by the players in front of you. In fact, the whole team was let down. Okay.
Okay. So let's get back to the point of what you want to jump into.
Players.
Who's the top player of the season? After we've just finished watching everything within the men's side, who do you think is going to be the winner of Ballon d'Or by the end of the year? TC, we can start with you.
He plays, cool. Dinesh's favorite boyfriend.
Which is?
He wears number 11, plays on the right side.
Okay, what's his name?
He's the best African player in the world.
Would you say Hakimi or Mo Salah is better?
I'm going to say...
Currently.
Look. Oof. Fuck, that's a great question, Eric. You're a dick. To be fair, I'm going to go with Mo Salah. Oh, I'm going to go with Mo Salah. Mo Salah had a record-breaking season in the Premier League. Okay, unfortunately, not as strong in the Champions League, but still just as good in a lot of those games. To do that consistently is Cristiano Ronaldo-esque. Okay, Mr. Roy-esque. Anyone else I can mention Liverpool? No, not right now. So. It's amazing. I say that as like a United player. I love watching that guy play. I watch his videos play because it's beauty, poetry. Definitely one of the top players up there has to be, without a doubt, based on this season. You mentioned another one of those, Now it's going to the two Barcelona players. They're talking about who's had the better season between the two wingers. Rafinha, who everyone was touting for a little bit before the last end of the season. And then Lamine, towards the end of the season there, kind of came into his end. We might see a bit more of him now in the internationals. I'm kind of leaning towards Rafinha if you're going to go for consistency over the whole season in terms of numbers put forward. Lamine had some moments of brilliance. My God, check what's in the blood of that kid. But consistently, I would have to say Rafinha just edges him. The reason Barcelona where they are this season is because of Rafinha. There's no doubt about that.
Fully agree there. Like, Yamal was amazing the entire year. The 2024 calendar year, specifically winning the Euro with Spain, and then as well, how much work he did for both Barcelona and how much they won the season, how far the entire El Clasico, the aggregate score. Him and Rafinha were very much neck and neck on making sure that they destroyed Real Madrid. But I would still put Dembele, of a totality of a season, I would still give it to him. Dinesh, love to hear from you in this.
I mean, that was my second one, but yes, okay.
So Dembele's second, yeah. This is a tough one. I think, again, I'm really biased. I think Mo Salah has to be up there, right? I mean, again, this is consistently, I know they don't count what they've done in previous years. It has to be done in the... When does it start? When does the actual,
So it's the calendar, it's the actual football calendar from
September to June.
Yeah, September to June. But depending on how things end for a player for a long particular period of time. So in this special case, Lamine Yamal with last year winning the Euro, they will take that into consideration coming in because whenever those things
out of the period, it's out of the calendar year. Why would they take? Sorry, yeah.
No, it's mainly because like he was too young to be considered for that before, but now he's old enough to actually get consideration for it. So it's a very weird process. It's voted on by the journalists. This is how they go by it.
Listen, Lamine Yamal can. Sorry, go ahead, Nash.
No, I was going to say, so yeah, Yamal, he's definitely winning best young player, right? Without a doubt. He's not winning the Ballon d'Or yet. He's winning the best young player without doubt. I mean, I love the fact that we're seeing a generational talent here. As long as he keeps his head on, doesn't get a major injury, then I think we're witnessing something truly special.
Well, actually, hold on. Just to your question, Nash. The great best young player, obviously Lamine Yamal, but there's another kid who won a treble this season.
Oof. I think I know who you're going with right now.
I mean, I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying you're right. Generational talent. You sit there because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, holy crap! He's Cristiano and freaking and you know what I mean? Like honestly, come on. He's 17. He was 18, 17, 18. He's the youngest.
Are you talking about Desiree Doué?
Yeah, he's the youngest scorer of the Champions League.
He's 19. He turns
20. Just almost turning 20. Yeah, almost.
He turns 20 in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just saying it's interesting. Like, obviously, the might just take it out, but you're saying the other day, you were just using the argument of he's won these things. See, this kid has watched. This kid has won like a treble. No, indeed, he's won a treble. Hey, let me. Have you won one of these for last season? So he's like, that kind of thing. I mean, no, he didn't.
He won the European Cup, he won the international and a domestic cup. It won't be long before Barcelona win the Champions League. And I mean, if they keep their players, it's going to happen. They're like super entertaining, and just the way Yamal plays the ball. Some of these touches and skills were just absolutely ridiculous. I know it's close to that, but this is a different level. I think this is like almost. There's some stuff there that was like Ronaldinho-esque. I was seeing from Yamal, and this was against Inter as well. This was nuts. This is the semi-final of the Champions League, and he's doing this. Like I was like mad, absolute madness. So personally, I feel like Yamal's on a different level. You're right, given the fact that Barcelona did not get to the final and did not win the Champions League. I think that puts some of these PSG kids on a pedestal a little bit. I think Dembélé, yes, I think he's frightening, right? And I'm glad that he's had the consistent season where he's not been injured, so he's definitely up there. Left foot, right foot, he's had a fantastic season. So I think again, I have bias. I think we have bias for the Premier League because we watch it. I think you have to be given definitely dock some points for being in the French league. So
I've watched McDonald's League. Hold up, wait a minute. I did a whole pitch with them this past year. Like I watched McDonald's League. Okay,
fair.
And what is it pointed? You're saying what? Like, are you reiterating or agreeing with this point that it's a lower level league across the board?
I would not say it's lower level. I would say it's just not as well understood. We did a whole episode on the media right. We did a whole episode previously on the media rights of league on like all the issues that they already have there with DAZN, DAZN, their media rights to the rest of the world, how these people are not being able to get their message and their brand out for League One. So like we don't call them the Farmers League anymore. There's a whole different space within it. To Dinesh's point, I will say, like, because of the English Premier League bias, it's already hard enough as it is, especially with all of the talent leaving the French league to all of these other leagues. But at the same time, League One, don't sleep on it. Like, there's some good things to be able to watch and be able to see there.
No one's disagreeing that, but I think you need to agree with the fact that it's a slightly weaker league than slightly some of the other leagues. Come on, Donald. You gotta admit the truth there. Come on. You just come on.
I'm gonna let Dinesh finish his point.
I've got one last. I think it's time that Donnarumma gets into the mix as well. I mean, he's just been absolutely incredible.
I thought he was already the best. I was telling you at our watch along, I was like, every point that Saka has possibly had in his career to win anything, Donnarumma has been there to say, no, you're not getting past me. The Euros, that championship where he wasn't able to win against Italy, Donnarumma was just saving everything, including penalties. And then you had this previous season where Arsenal was able to make it to the final, semi-final, and lose pretty handedly might I add. But Saka was the only one who was able to find the net against PSG under an Arsenal shirt. So yeah, like that man is, ever since his time with Milan, he has really grown as just like, probably, I would say, top. Dinesh, I'm sure you agree that Alisson is still up there, even though Kelleher has been a little bit better over the couple seasons due to injury. But Donnarumma, PSG, match made in heaven for them for sure.
Yeah. Taking my hat off. I again, my Liverpool bias. Donnarumma would be. I mean, apparently he's got 1 year left on his contract, right? He hasn't signed a new deal, so he could be moving. Rumors, when we get to that later, right? Rumors of where he might go next, but yeah, he's going to be in demand. Like, again, what a top class keeper he is.
For sure.
Yeah, that would be a coup and a half.
Yeah, TC, any final thoughts there?
Yeah, somehow we were talking about the 3 best players, and you somehow decided to talk about Arsenal and Saka. Hell, how do you end up there? I mean, that just tells you the delusional fucking world that Arsenal fans are on, people. We're fucking talking about the 3 best players, and somehow we went into 2 minutes about Saka. And listen, I think that what we have seen over this season is some beautiful, technical, speedy, tricky, youngster, emerging, just talents, flowers, that has really just poked our interest away from the usual suspects, or rather in addition to the usual suspects, the Salahs, and even the Haaland, who had a lower than expected season by his standards, still had a great season by fucking anyone at United season, except for Bruno Fernandes, because Bruno Fernandes is pretty much the best midfielder in the Premier League at the moment. And if you say no or anything not that, then you clearly not a football. And I think that we're very lucky to be in an era where we are seeing, the, like you said, generational unearthing talents, youngsters coming out to give us more hope and flight, and great for the consumer of the game to see coming out, which I think can only bode great interest going forward. It really does bode well to see where it's going to land up for us going ahead to the next season. And I think looking back at this season, I think there's been some interesting things that I just want to touch on in terms of the key things for this season has really been about, like, obviously taken away from the patheticness of some Manchester clubs, has really been like the competitiveness of the league, of the leagues, to Eric's point, not just the Premier League, but of the leagues. We've seen nice competitiveness across the German, the Dutch to the last day, the Spanish as well. So you're seeing this, I think, and I think it's part and parcel with a bit more money in the game and teams being able to play a bit more in terms of not Premier League, yes, being dominating, but having a bit more of it to play because of the leverage of Premier League. Other leagues have had to start to negotiate better deals in order to give that money, and you're starting to see the benefits of that, with some of the more players moving along and being competitive with those to Germany, to Spain, and stuff like that, which I think is only good for the game, because as much as we joke about the Farmers League, we really want a consistent league, 5 leagues across the whole football landscape in Europe, 6 leagues, which allows for a deeper, more intrinsic, engaging Champions League, and then also just allows for a better, I think, spectacle for the consumers on the ground who are in those cities representing those towns.
No, I hear that. Everybody, to finalize the point here, everyone always says you have to go to Europe to better yourself with football. I mean, that's where all of the money is. That's where some of the best players in the world are. And that's where some of the best media deals have been made. You have the giants in Spain. You have the kind of parody, the illusion of parody going on within the English Premier League. You have the main giant, and the rest are minnows, except for some smaller squads over in the German league. In the French league, you have a one-trick pony right now. It's kind of tough for a lot of the other teams. And then finally in Italy, you have just a lot of different things going on. It was a very good watch at the very end of the year. Inter Milan had the title in their hands, and Napoli just stole it in the last month. So hopefully very soon you get more imports, especially because our next topic that we're about to jump into is transfers. We're going to be talking about team transfers going on, some of the happenings with some of our squads of teams that we support here. But we'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on who they feel as though the best player was, and how crazy was that PSG whooping of Inter Milan this past Champions League final. I want to thank everybody again for giving Dem Boys Watch Footy a listen. All right, gents. Want to start with Dinesh here. mainly because Liverpool has been doing the most work out of the three teams that we support on the pod right now. Manchester United was able to finish a deal with Matías Cunha. That was completely done. That is a here we go from Fabrizio. But Dinesh, we'd love to see where your head is lying right now with some of the transfer imports. And then you also have some very interesting news coming from Bayer Leverkusen as well. So want to hear where you're taking this away.
Yeah. This is I think again Liverpool overdue a big summer as well of spending. We've been squirreling away
Whole
a lot
year
of
not
money.
spending,
Yeah, and we've not had a big a big transfer window for a while, so that I can recall in recent memory anyway. Right, that's not happened. I think last year we only signed we only signed one player, didn't we? Yeah,
Chiesa from Juventus.
Chiesa,
I think that was on a
it,
free. Or is that 5 million? But it
No,
was
it's
a
like
very minuscule
under
amount.
10, it was like 9 million or so. It was like under 10.
Yeah.
I believe it's like 9 million or so. I have that in my head. But yeah, we're definitely we're due to have the squad refreshed a little bit. Obviously, Trent going. I think we mentioned this a couple of months ago when he said he wanted to win the Ballon d'Or. He spoke about his personal achievements above the teams. You can read between the lines, and you kind of knew he was going. So it was expected. Sad to see him go.
At least you got some money for him. You got 11 million for him because
apparently, right? Is that? I don't know if that really got
that's
through.
better than nothing. That's an academy player.
Yeah,
that's an academy player coming off your book. So leaving for free compared to leaving for 11 mil, you still are making a profit.
Yeah. And excited for Frimpong. I mean, he's gonna be, that's our first official signing, I guess. As of today, I was actually watching some analysis on him, and it's interesting to see that one of the reasons why I think we're signing him is because of his versatility. He's obviously very different. He's a very unique player. His attacking stats for a right back are out the water, but his defending is actually one of the worst in Europe's top league. So one analysis that I saw was that it's just showing that he's a player that we're going to have across the right hand side. So Mo's going to be on going to the AFCON, right? So we're going to need some cover there. Conor Bradley does get injured, while he's growing. I think a lot of younger players happen. Steven Gerrard, while he's growing into his body, he's going to have multiple injuries. So Conor Bradley seems to have these injuries. So I think Conor Bradley would be the mainstay there at right back. But this is a squad move, and because again he has so much energy going down, it's going to be completely different to the way Trent plays. We're not. I think it's.
I feel as though it might be the same if you're already talking about his defending, because y'all hate right backs that defend.
I don't understand. That's a whole other topic, like how Trent got so much hate for defending. He plays in a defensive midfield position essentially, right from right back. He's constantly moving away. So when he does defend, I feel like he's pretty strong. It's just the way that we played with him and to get the best out of him, we just couldn't put him in a position to defend. Right? Again, his passing is on another level. Long may I wish him the best. Hope he enjoys his time at Real Madrid. I'm curious to see how. I hope Yamal doesn't get the best of him. I think that's going to be a very interesting.
That's going to be a battle
next year. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the first El Clasico next year.
Might need Carvajal for that.
Yeah. This is going to be really, really fun to watch.
And then who's up against Rafinha actually? Rafinha on that side.
Outside, yeah, depending on how they switch. I mean, they're both left foot, so yeah, it's that'll be interesting. And then
also they're switching up the entire. Sorry to cut you off there. They're also switching up the formation there now with the new coach Xabi Alonso.
Right. And then just speaking on Wirtz, obviously that's not confirmed yet. There's still ongoing negotiations. I mean, again, don't want to get too excited yet because things still have to go through. But again, that'd be quite the coup for Liverpool to kind of get to get a player of this quality. Right age, 22. Man City pulled out. He would have been, I think Pep wanted him, but I don't exactly know the intricacies of why they didn't move forward. They pulled out the race.
City doesn't do bidding wars anymore. That's what happened with City against Arsenal for Declan Rice. When a player specifically says they want to go to a squad, Man City they back off. That's been their new transfer policy.
Well, I think anytime one of the Manchester clubs decides to put their name in the hat, immediately the price goes up. And there's been studies that have shown this countless times. It's just they seem to think they've got deep pockets or, we're idiots, which is both the truth.
Yeah, we can get to Manchester United, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on these transfers. But yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool, hopefully, it is a big buy. We're overdue it. This guy's 22, long term. I think this makes, it's an investment. Doesn't seem to get. He had an injury when he was, I think, 17. I think, right. But apart from that, I don't think he's had too many injuries since, like long-term injuries since then. So, hopefully this is an investment that, for the next couple of years that will get us those assists. And then I'm just thinking we need a striker. As much as Darwin is good banter and he's been fun and frustrating, I think it's time the season where we part ways. Whether that be a loan or I think he'd be perfect at Atletico Madrid, like the pantomime villain. Diego Simeone, I think he'd fit in well there. But I think we have with a striker. I think maybe defensive midfielder and one more centre back. But I'd be grateful just for a striker, to be honest.
Yeah, the fact that you guys won without making really a big signing, kudos.
This was Liverpool's season, man. That's what I'm gonna say. This was insane. I was thinking about this just before I got on. I was like, okay, we lose against the champions of Europe, the Champions League, right? And we almost beat them, which was wild. We won the Premier League. Manchester United lose to Tottenham Hotspur. Man City have one of the worst, performances of the
entire reign,
for a while. And so I was just thinking, this is it was almost like a perfect season. I'm almost okay that Newcastle won the Carabao Cup. Right? I was gutted while watching. I was like, this was very frustrating, but good for them. And Tottenham, I was up for that final. I was rooting for Tottenham. I was like, yes, come on, Ange. And just the banter afterwards, it was just, I was loving it. I almost celebrated like it was one of our own. And it was, I was like, might I not being in any European competition? It's just finishing what? They finished 16th. I don't even know where they finished in the end.
I believe it was 16th. Yeah, TC, yeah. This is a good segue, especially because we're going to talk about your transfers next for you, because we're going to be talking about your transfers. Where'd you finish? What are you thinking about the transfer market? Especially Cunha is now completely done. There's talks of Brian Mbeumo coming over from Brentford. You have some other things that are going to happen. So, yeah, that's a good segue to you.
Well, you've just pretty much explained the whole segue there, haven't you? I mean, what else would you like to add there, guys? Huh? Is there anything else you'd like to add? How about the detriment of my death? Is that something you'd like to add to it? No. Look, I think that there's some things that need to be sorted out quite quickly. There's Sancho's future, Garnacho's future, Fernandez's future, whether or not he takes a deal. I think he knows money be good, but also it's a detriment to his career. I frankly would not like to see him go. Know that he should really go to a club in which he can really perform and potentially win something, which might not be happening for us for the next 2 seasons at least. I think we've got an interesting one with Rashford as well, who's posting videos of him training, putting himself in the shop market or him to come back. And here's hoping that both Arsenal and Liverpool are really never have to go through the things that we're having to go through as a club. And that I think that
we've already gone through it.
Have you?
It's the exact same thing. Come on, man. I growing up, man, I felt this pain for a long time.
No, what I mean is, I think what you mean is I'm pulling away from the football and getting really to the politics of what's going on at the club, which will come down to, which I spoke about last week. I think it comes down to the running of the club currently in the way it's being run.
And this has already happened with Arsenal before the Kroenkes bought.
Liverpool, this happened to us for years. We had Andy Carroll, for goodness sake. We put 50 million on Andy Carroll. Come on, man. We had that banter year.
Yes, but that's just vindictive of your clubs. This is just vindictive of...
Okay, when it happens to us, it's just vindictive, but when it happens to you, woe is me. Gotcha.
I didn't say that. I said it's the detriment. I said we were watching the decay of our club. That's what I said. I think that you guys need to pull back on your Man United chip on, hey, we'll support anyone but Man United, of course, and just look at the facts, okay? Take your complicit bias out of this, okay? Because it's quite clear. It's seeping through the pores here. It's sweating through the nostrils, okay, lads? Okay? I'll slide tackle 2 feet, no problem. I got no problem putting people in hospitals. No problem. That's what I do, okay? I come through. I'm an old school defender. Point is, I think it's going to be a big transfer season for us in terms of for our club. So a lot of movement, a lot of teams, a lot of players getting moved out. A lot of the end of their contracts. You spoke about Inter Milan and Napoli, but let's talk about some players that are at Napoli. You know what I mean? Like Scott McTominay.
Italian player of the season.
Italian player of the season, man. But then I think I look at players like Anthony, who is doing amazingly at Real Betis, and we start to think then, is it more of a Manchester United problem because of the pressures? I mean, there are things that we won't know.
I think that was more of an Ericsson hot.
Whoa. Before you try and make judgment on something you don't seem to know about. Dick, why are you coming down on my club like that? Jeez, no. The thing is, people, I think we have to understand that there's a huge mental, I think, blockade of some sort that happens at Manchester United with some of the best players in the world who last season, wherever they're playing, light it up. They put on that red shirt and it's like, I am now Eric, playing for Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? Like you literally, do you know what I'm saying? But last season, you were freaking Dembélé. But then as soon as you go to Arsenal, you're now Eric. You know what I mean? Like literally you walking on the field. And it's like, there's this mental blockade that we just see good that happens to players. I don't know if it's the pressure. I don't know what it is. But other teams, don't need to say Arsenal, like Liverpool, I think have similar pressures. But I think in the age that we're in, that we're just seeing this, and I'm not trying to make excuses or say, woe is me, to be fair. I'm just trying to look at possible analogies as to why this is consistently happening to good players. But then when they leave the club, you go and see their natural talents flourish, like Anthony, like McTominay, like other players. There's many others who've had that. And it's starting to make it a case for whether or not there's other factors at play at United, whether it's the pressure, the too many commitments, too many. I don't know. What I'm saying is there is something there intrinsically wrong. And as much as we want to banter about it, I look at your situations, at your periods of those periods of yours. Specifically when you had Andy Carroll and Benayoun, as your fucking attack force. What changed around there? The ownership, the directors of football, what led you to the position you are? Just before Klopp joined, don't forget, we had Benitez, we had Brendan Rodgers, you had Kenny Dalglish, okay? And then you had friggin' Klopp, great manager. Was he the one who was able to just bring it all together and be like, hey, this is what we're playing for? And change the call. These are the things that I'm trying to look to replicate. Same with Arsenal, Well, I don't know.
No, you don't want to replicate anything with Arsenal.
Because,
in our worst banter time, we weren't this bad. But we were still getting killed because we celebrated fourth as a trophy, as we just saw Chelsea do at the end of the season. But we're not going to talk about that. And we got 8th and we got 5th. Yeah, it was a bad time after Wenger left, but even during Wenger's final years, it wasn't the greatest to see.
And what about Arteta's best years?
I mean, Arteta's best years so far, we've gotten second 3 times. So hey, whatever happens.
What if I tell
the season?
If I tell my girlfriend that
I think that's a good segue though. I think that's a good segue because right now we're talking about how Arsenal, this is a put up or shut up year with Arteta. Already reports between a lot of things saying that we're going with Šeško, this striker from Slovenia. There are a lot of reports saying that we're going with Gyökeres, striker from Sweden, coming over from Sporting Lisbon. So I'm still undecided between the two. One could be greater for the other. This whole viewpoint of aerodynamic versus youth, there's a lot of different things in that battle. I just want someone that can actually just put us over the line, put us over the top. It's not just going to be a striker. We also need another wing player. As much as the fans love Martinelli, I'm not happy with his output for the last 2 seasons. Yes, he's been kind of marooned out on the left-hand side to be able to create his own because our number 8 situation has been amazing, and our left back always inverts, so it's kind of just leaving him out there to kind of rot. So
it's giving him space so it can be 1-on-1.
He's always 2-on-1. It's always 2-on-1 against him in those spaces. If we see it each and every time, the only times that Saka gets space is when Ben White is the right back and Odegaard is the.
Well, look what he does with it. He draws, or passes it, or makes that space, takes the confidence, takes his man on.
Yeah, but our left back situation is inverted into the midfield. So only Martinelli is out there by himself, not
It's
being able to create.
fucking lie. But anyway.
I don't think you watch the games as I do, but hey, we can agree to disagree. We can agree there.
My coach is so dumb. This is what you just said, and I'm going to simplify because it's what you're saying. My coach is so dumb that he makes a formation so that Martinelli has no left support because the left back goes inside and it doesn't have a...
No, that is not what I'm saying. The thing that I'm saying is going into our next transfer topic, Zubimendi, we finally have a center defensive mid that can play within the lines, that can actually let our midfield be able to dictate a little bit better to hopefully open up some space for that left mid or that right mid. Before you go into a tizzy, take a beat. It's okay. I do know a little bit of football, seeing as though we got them boys watch footy right now for y'all. So that's where my mind's at with Arsenal. Would love to hear what our viewers and our listeners think about with some of the signings that have been happening. But folks, I believe that is all we are going to be discussing today. Thank you all again for giving us some time of your evening. I want to leave you with a quick predictions as the Club World Cup is fastly approaching. It's starting within the next week. Gentlemen, starting for UTC, who do you think is going to be in the, at least like a big front runner and a dark horse in the Club World Cup tournament?
Going to go for Real Madrid.
As a front horse? All right, who do you have as a dark horse?
The dark horse is probably going to be, is it Boca Juniors?
Boca Juniors is in Group C. They're with Auckland City, Bayern, and Benfica.
Yeah. There's a guy there, his name's Edison. He's a very tricky character. Boca Juniors were known for their trickiness and suave on these bigger tournaments. They always do very well at these FIFA tournaments for some reason. Makes me think that they'd be the dark horse.
Okay, sounds good. Dinesh, going to end with who do you think is going to be making forward as the front horse? Who do you think is going to be a dark horse?
PSG are in this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, could they not just win this again? Like, this is, they're not done, right? This could really cement Dembele as a Ballon d'Or if he wins this too, right? Maybe, right? Is he?
That's true.
Another point. I don't know how the hell these teams are chosen. Like, why? Like, well, is Arsenal or Liverpool on in this? But even Man United, well, that's another thing. They're not going to be in this.
What? Why? Why would they be here?
I mean, so yeah, PSG would be the obvious.
Okay.
But I think the dark horses might be Chelsea. I mean, if they can perform, right? I think these guys should have a stacked squad. Like, come on, they even winning their whatever the Europa League cup they won, right?
Europa Conference League.
Conference, that's it. Sorry, I keep forgetting about that third tier league, but European Cup is. But it's just like, I mean, yeah, they should have been way better in the Premier League, and so I feel like this might be their time to shine, especially with representing their American owners. It's still in America, right? As well, this is
yeah. Club World Cup it's the audition for the World Cup, so it's the chance to see a bunch of the host cities within the World Cup, how they really function with a FIFA back tournament.
I really want to tell it, but is there not something? And I'm sorry, I know you're ending this, but is there not something for how much fucking football these men are playing? Again,
I think this is a lot of money. And this is another topic that I want to talk about next week, specifically about how MLS has taken away money from the players who are going to be in the Club World Cup, because MLS, instead of distributing the money to the teams that are in the Club World Cup, LAFC, Seattle Sounders, MLS is keeping that in the pool for themselves, all because of the collective bargaining agreement that was signed years ago before this tournament has evolved into what it was. So that's a very big topic for another time. To your point, TC, really want to focus on that next week, right before the Club World Cup starts. So we can push that there. But for my front horse, I was also looking at PSG. Definitely was giving that some love. I don't know how many of their first team is actually going to play in this tournament, solely because they just went through a crazy season. And their kids are good. Their young people are good, but are they going to be great through an entire grueling tournament? Who knows? So
and internationals. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's a lot of football because there's Club World Cup and internationals, and you're coming off. Some of these clubs have gone on pro season tour. Now they've gone to internationals.
Yeah.
And then they've got freaking Club World Cup. Like, I get it, we're paying them money, but jeez.
Yeah,
On the
legs.
April season, like, this is meant to be all over again.
Yeah, ligaments are going to start blowing up. So, front runner, I'm going to have to go with a squad. Let's say like Manchester City. They have something to prove this summer. Especially, they're going to get some new people within. I'm going to go with Man City as a front runner, and my dark horse is the Urawa Reds, the Japanese squad coming over for the Club World Cup. I'm just going to go with the Blue Lock reference. Those guys, they have a chance to kind of just make history for their squad. Japan has always been good within international tournaments anyway. Their national team, so I'm giving their club team, their club representatives some love here as well. So love to hear our listeners' thoughts on that. And for that is your boy E, it's your boy TC, and it's your boy Dinesh. Want to thank everybody for giving them boys watch footy a listen tonight. Y'all have a great one.